Greetings, world and family. I am Richard coming to you today, being Sunday, July the 6th, with our beloved new friend, Miss Sonja. Greetings, Sonja.
Thank you, Richard. That was awesome. Yes, I'm Sonja from the Tree of Knowledge. I'm a remote viewer and I'm also a big time empath. And today we're going to be having fabulous conversations. So hang on to your hat because we're going to dive deep.
Oh, I love this all. I love this all. So, Fanny, how it comes that Sonia and I are getting together right now is that, as you know, our brother Gary had collaboration with Sonia a few weeks ago. And it was an amazing, mind-blowing session because now we got like, no. It's Gary calling me. I'm so sorry. I don't know what happened right there. Are you
That's
there?
okay. Yes,
Okay,
I'm
so
here.
should we start over again?
We could if you want to. It's up to you.
Okay, is it still recording though?
Yeah, I think it is.
Okay, so funny. Look, this is like just a blooper behind the scenes. So as I was talking about Gary, it was actually Gary calling me. And then I thought I was putting the phone off, but I put the recording and I vanished. So I am back. So this was an amazing collaboration between Sonia and Gary because they're two like-minded about their knowledge that they do. And as you know me, I'm also an empath. I'm an intuitive, but me, it's something that's a very different route. But today we got together, Sonia and me, and had a beautiful conversation last week. And we said, well, we must do a show. So it's for both our channels. No one's guest. It's more like a recording of a beautiful conversation of knowledge and sharing. So here we go. So last week, my beautiful Sonia, with a lovely shag like Susie Quattro, we had a beautiful time talking about several subjects that you brought to my attention. I don't know where would you like to start first?
Maybe we better start on the dome and
The
where we're at and what's going on and what's in that dome.
okay, beautiful.
So basically, let me just kind of put this into a reel
Hmm.
since your viewers won't know what I'm talking about. Basically, this is a simulated reality. And in this simulated reality, um, we are on a huge thing called the cosmic egg. And
Hmm.
on top of that cosmic egg, we have dozens of little snow globes. I call them snow globes, but they're Dyson spheres. And
Okay.
they are actually places where you can control an environment and have one full environment for each snow globe for a form of life, vegetation, animals, whatever have you. Outside of the domes, there is still lots of land and area
Hmm.
where there's also life. Then inside of, I call her Gaia because she's the huge cosmic egg. There are levels of life inside of Gaia. It's a huge area that's in different sections. It's got suns in there. It's got water, prime water, which is fresh, high energized water, whole civilizations. And inside of Gaia are also dimensions, which means that
Mm.
different dimensions hold different kind of realities. So think of us as one little bleep on top of the snow globe, well, on top of the cosmic egg in the snow globe, and how small we are in our reality versus the entire huge cosmic egg versus everyone's talking about space. When they talk about space, they're talking about outside of the snow globe. Those places are your Jupiter, your Saturn, your what have you. It isn't that
Hmm.
holographic sky above you, which we could go into the whole holographic sky and flat plane that we are in this Dyson sphere. That's a whole nother story. But at one point, before this became a snow globe, we had life, and life was enormous. So we're
Mm.
discovering now and have been for several, maybe the last 10 years, that some of our mountains were actually beings. Some of our
Hmm.
mountains, trees, some of petrified this, petrified that, as huge as an island, like an
Hmm.
elephant or whatever being. And you're like, oh my gosh, how big are things outside of here? Quite enormous, quite enormous. We have been We went from the macro, which is large, to the micro, which is small.
Mhm.
And so what they did with our species was make us smaller, smaller, smaller. When the snow globe was introduced, this Dyson sphere, the beings that were put inside of here were made to be even smaller. But at one point, we had giants in here. So
Mhm.
these giants were still incredibly small compared to the original
Mhm.
existence, which encompassed dragons. Okay.
Yes. Yes.
So basically, I'm going to mention this guy, Roger Spur from Mud
Mhm.
Fossil University. Please go check him out. He's been taking these specimens, which you think are mountains or rocks or what have you, and he's been x-raying them, and he's been putting them under analysis, chemical
Mhm.
analysis. And you know how when we have rocks that are red and they bleed red when they get
Mhm.
wet, found out that that's actually red DNA, which is blood from
Yes.
whatever it is. So please, everyone, go check out Roger from Mud Fossil University. He also found at the top of Africa that there was a huge dragon that was slain, and it had a huge fish in its mouth imprinted on top of another dragon. Because
Oh.
most of our land underneath of us, not all of it, but most of it is dragons,
Mhm.
huge dragons that would match the huge cosmic egg size of Gaia. So over the
Mhm.
time frame, everything getting smaller, smaller, smaller. I think they even made movies about, you know, honey, I shrunk my kids, or
Yes.
somebody got shrunk or something. This is all based off of knowledge that's been hidden from humanity. So
Mm.
I put this also in. We were shrunk so much that now we don't even fit in. I call this shell an avatar. We don't fit in our
Yes.
avatar.
So do I. Yeah.
Yeah. So this is why we have something called your biofield that can
Mhm.
stretch from finger to finger. Normally, this is how big your biofield is. That is your energy being. It simply cannot be compressed any further. So
Mm.
basically, when you want to enlarge your energy being, it's like a muscle exercise. It's like if you sit all the time and you don't get up and walk, your legs get atrophied, right? So
Yes.
we can take our biofield and stretch it as big as this entire snow globe if you preferred to do so. Because
Mhm.
in reality, our energy beings, when they first came into this schematic, were inhabiting, living in one of those huge bodies. Mhm. So your body, your energy being, can encompass something that's bigger than this entire snow globe reality.
Mm. It's
So,
crazy to wrap your head around it, huh? But yes, I feel it absolutely accurate. Yes. Yeah.
yeah. So basically, at a time when this first schematic was created, because this is a simulated world, one of the main things that lived in here were dragons.
Mhm.
So the dragons are who? Who were the dragons? We are. We were. We were dragon energy. We lived in those dragon bodies. And when they were slain, we were changed out from dragons to something else. You could be
Mhm.
put into anything else. So that is one of the main things when I look at this snow globe. We're living on top of dead things. I think it's even in the Bible where they talk about we're living on dead things, giants, what have you.
Mhm.
Think about your titans. All of that was taken out of a reality and made into a cartoon.
Yeah. Yeah.
The titans have been cartoonified.
Mhm.
Who were the titans? We were.
Mhm.
But as far as the dragons go, um, I guess it was several years ago, and I started remote viewing things, and I kept seeing these dragons were coming in, and it's like, oh my gosh, what is going on with these dragons? And then I realized, oh my God, we were the dragons, and we're living on
Mhm.
top of our dead bodies. There are several dragons that are really big in this snow globe,
Mhm.
and they're dormant. They are dormant. They're not dead. And
Mhm.
I'm going to tell you right now, they're being kept dormant because of a temperature that's being done. I know this is going to sound crazy, but Think of your little terrarium. It's supposed to be one temperature. We do have maps that prove at one point this was one temperature in here. And one of them is the Prairie Res map. So when you go into the Prairie Res map and you see all this stuff that's shown and now is under a mile of ice with the technology of the map being made, and it's dated back hundreds of years,
Hmm.
how can that be? So, and it's like they bring in freezer units. What are you going to do if you wanted to make sure those dragons don't wake up when they are
Hmm.
land masses? You're going to put them into a dormancy, and you've built a civilization on top of the dragons.
Yes, yes, yes. I resonate to everything that you're just saying right here because, as I don't know if I told you this last week, but I am of dragon lineage. So, like, I am in contact with the dragon energy very much. And I work with dragons, and I love my dragons. And so, yes, because as we had this discussion last week, right, I did go into a meditation afterwards, and I did see that, yes, indeed, within this dome, there would be like big carcass of dragons. So I went in, and then they showed me like this would be like all the underground tunneling where there's like all these big crystals happening, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I saw also that the more that we discuss, as in the show today, our collaboration, our conversation, our frequency is actually helping to awaken the energy of the sleeping dragons. And what is
Oh,
the sleeping dragon, is what I got, my beautiful Sonia, would be basically like an aspect of Gaia, because that would have been her more primordial of being herself. And I
mm-hmm,
agree. I think that before it used to be more tropical everywhere.
mm-hmm.
Reports are going past the ice wall with admiral bird.
Bird,
It's like you
bird.
got mammoths and I know there's like a megalodon in those waters and a big
Oh yeah,
octopus. And so,
oh
yes,
yeah.
it's so exciting because everything is coming online right now. And it's all about the plasma. Okay, the
Mm-hmm.
waters, everything is boiling up and we're coming awake. So the more we discuss and we share this frequency, the more that inner dragon is yawning, stretching, trying to come alive. 9 to 5, Dolly Parton. I don't know why that just hit me, but that's how Richard works. So thank you for sharing that. That's amazing. The return of
Yeah,
the dragon.
yeah. I think it was about a year ago, everyone was talking about there was a Leviathan that
Mhm.
was the coast of Africa, and they were actually filming it from up above, this huge mass that was moving. And the Leviathan was actually an old sea creature, and it laid thousands and thousands of eggs the size of us. And
No,
yeah,
in
yeah.
Africa.
And it was off the coast of Africa up. It was toward um like the middle of Africa and started going up the side of the coast in the Atlantic Ocean.
Wow.
And they were filming it, and everyone was labeling it the Leviathan. And the
Mm.
Leviathan, when I started looking at that, I'm like, that's not really a Leviathan. That's just a sea life that got caught, trapped inside of this
Mhm.
snow globe. And what happens is some of this stuff goes dormant for a while. Well, if you're really, really big, your dormancy could be hundreds and hundreds of
Oh,
years.
yes. Oh,
It's
yes.
not like a squirrel that goes dormant for like a week or whatever,
Yeah.
or a bear that goes for the winter. We're
Hmm.
talking something that's bigger than islands.
I could have like that one breath every once in a while, like really stretched out,
Yeah,
right?
yeah,
Uh-huh.
yeah. So I do know that the deep state, which is the bad guys, had
Yes.
gone in and they were trying to, put out some cover stories to cover it up. And they had gone in with submarines and technology, and they were trying to find all of the eggs and destroy them. Think about that thing is that big where it's actually seen on anything that's up above, that it's moving and it's moving slow. And this thing laid eggs in a volcano. Of course it would, because it's looking for a warm area to lay its
Of
eggs.
course. Yes.
Yeah. So basically, what happened was I was remote viewing and I saw them going in, and their only mission was to destroy the eggs. Problem is, the eggshells were so thick, they were having a hard time trying to destroy those eggs. It was taking them a while to destroy one, and we're talking thousands.
I don't get that they destroyed all of them. Nope.
They didn't destroy all of them. The
Yeah.
problem is they have no way to actually contain this being, because
Hmm.
when those eggs hatch, it's like they will start growing. They do grow at a very slow rate, but we're talking about something that when it first hatches, because when it comes out of the egg, it will like be 4 times the size because it's all inside of there, and then it all comes out and it's way bigger than the egg. So they're all um, able to procreate, and they don't know exactly what animal this is that they're dealing with. They know it's something from some time frame, and that its physiology is a lot different than our physiology.
Yeah.
And they didn't want it to get out of control because we don't have enough room in this little tiny
For
snow
an
globe.
army of that, yes. Yeah.
That would be like what happens when the dragons wake up and come out of their slumber, and they're the size of the Straits of Gibraltar all the way out to a part of the Atlantic Ocean, and that's one
Hmm.
single dragon. Can you imagine if that thing wakes up, gets up, and puts a foot down? My God, the whole foot could cover, I don't know, a part of Canada, maybe Quebec.
Hmm. Yes, yes, I
I
see
mean,
that. But I think that by then, like the dome, it's gone.
there will come a point that
You
when they
know?
wake up, because the dome will be down, they have a frequency that they carry inside of them that they could shatter the dome in a New York second. So the
Hmm.
next thing is I was talking to Arthur, and he's like, why don't they go, or maybe it might have been Wendy, might have been Wendy. Why don't they go and kill the dragon while it's sleeping? And I said, do you realize how thick their skin is? We're talking about skin that's probably a half a mile thick, a half
Hmm.
mile thick, and
Yeah.
it's got hard scales on it, harder than diamond. You'd have to be
Hmm.
able to penetrate that. And then what are you going to do? You're like a parasite. You're like a teeny little bitty nothing
But
parasite.
why would you want to kill the dragon anyways?
You would want to kill the dragon if you're the bad guys, and if you're
Yeah.
worried about it
Uh-huh.
waking up,
Uh-huh.
because then everything changes and you have completely lost. The bad guys don't, they want chaos, but controlled chaos.
Oh, yes, of
They,
course they do.
they
Of
yeah, they
course.
want controlled chaos. You're not controlling that. You're not controlling.
Hmm.
You are but the size of an amoeba compared to that, you know.
And their time is done. They could have all their freezing agents and all that, but everything is thawing. Gaia decided she's coming back on and she's bringing all her babies awaken, the titans, the titanesses. Some will be in frequency, the return. Volcanoes are titans very often as well.
When I look at volcanoes, I see there was a lot of mining before the domes came on here.
Mhm.
We had factions that wanted to have gold. Gold is not what everyone thinks it is.
No.
Um, I'm going to say this real quick because I know a lot of people think gold is an actual mineral, and it is not.
Mhm. Mhm.
What it is all your gold, your silver, your copper, whatever. Um, when I was watching Roger Spur on Mud
Mhm.
Fossil University, I'm giving him this credit. So then I went and looked into what he was talking about through remote viewing, and I was like, oh my God, here's a link. He was
Mm.
talking about these titans were so big, these things were so big. They had the same thing we have, parasites. And
Mhm.
inside of the parasite, they would live in your intestinal tract, just like them. These parasites were enormous. And what happens through the alchemical changing of what the parasite was eating inside of you, alchemically, it changed the structure of, and the gold, the silver, the copper were excrements because of the acids in the stomach that changed the compounds into gold, silver, copper. This is why
Whoa.
when you use the bathroom and you were to take your excrement, you know what you'd find in there? Gold, silver, copper. Because not only did they shrink us, the parasites shrank with us also. And so the parasites that were inside of them are inside of us, and in their excrements, because they're eating stuff inside of us, they're excreting gold, silver,
Oh my
copper.
gosh, you're rocking my world, and higher self is saying that you're accurate. Wow, something to blow my mind. You do this to me every time. You blow my mind. Last week you did it twice because I always felt that the gold came from blood because we have gold in our blood, but
Yep,
it goes deeper than that.
they go deeper than that.
Okay, so I
So
thought the
what
gold was just like dried up blood of the Titans of
It's
it's oh
actually
my
excrement.
gosh.
It's because stomach acids change um, the mechanisms. Say
Yeah.
you ate a carrot and you ate a I don't know, a potato. So
Uh-huh.
the parasites will eat that leftovers. Everything has base minerals in it, true base minerals and vitamins. And what it does is when the parasite consumes it, its stomach acids change the actual matter. It's true alchemy. We have it
Wow,
too.
that is.
Everyone's told about we have alchemy. You have alchemy inside of your body. We do the same thing. We do the same thing. We change everything we eat. We alchemize that and then turn it into something that is beneficial for us. So
Mind
I
blown.
I suggest everybody go to Roger Spur Mud Fossil University and start learning some things.
I'm gonna put it in the description box. So his name is Rogers.
Roger, just Roger
Mhm.
Spur, Spur. I don't know if it's
S.
two or one. His channel on YouTube is Mud Fossil University. He has done x-rays, he has done tests, he has come back with all of that iron that they're saying is a mineral is actually blood because we're living on dead things.
Right.
And when everything got petrified at one point, because there was a petrification that happened in the first reset, a lot of things got petrified.
Mhm.
That's your giants that got petrified. And I'm going to talk
Yes.
about this right now. The only water Gaia has inside of Gaia is pure prime water, which is the purest energized water. There's no salt in it. You know what salt is? The
Mhm.
ocean. Petrified beings because they're comprised of salts. And when they started to
Mhm.
disintegrate, guess what? The salt started building in our oceans.
Mhm. Yes, yes, I agree with that. I did a show with Gary on that, and there's a lot. This is true.
Mm-hmm.
Fascinating, isn't it? All the information. I feel that the collective is now ready to maybe hear or
Mm-hmm.
ready to start registering, like it's not too crazy or out there. Whereas maybe a few years back, we'd speak of such things, and most people would just go blank and start thinking of their grocery list or something, right? But I feel the collective is awakening and is ready for this information. I
Information.
mean, our
Yep.
reality is so much more than we think it is. It is a simulation. This is
Yep.
an avatar. We are walking into a dream state, really, is how I see it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. The American Indians and all their different tribes always talked about dream walking, and
Yeah.
they always professed one thing through every tribe: you are in a dream. This is
Yes.
but a
Yes.
dream within a dream.
And the more that you could like surrender to that fact or that possibility, everything else is so less complicated. You know, you
Mhm.
go you smoothly through life when you realize it's
Yep.
a dream and you actually have control on the dream.
Yeah, you do. And your control is actually, have you ever heard of lucid dreaming?
Yes, I do
Okay.
that.
We
Yeah.
are, a lot of us walk through this life asleep. When you
Mhm.
wake up, you have just created and achieved lucid dreaming, where
Yes.
you take the reality back and you say which direction it's going to go into. You're no
Yes.
longer the sleepwalkers.
That's right. We're snapping the code of disillusion.
Yep.
Huh?
And now we're in a lucid dream where we are in control of what we do next, what we learn next, what this place is. We're no longer, I always think of it as a child who cannot get out of bed.
Mhm.
And no matter what you do to try to get him out of bed, you have to get a big cold bucket of ice water and throw it on him.
Or symbols. Bang, bang.
Uh-huh. Uh-huh. So yeah, we are now entering into the lucid dream state. And that's a big one. That's a big one.
I really enjoy it because I do have my memories of my dreaming. It's not a dream.
No,
Sometimes I will have a dream that camouflages me coming back into the simulation and I have to decode it. But often that's like, no, I don't like where this dream is going. Wake up. And I wake up.
that's it. That's being able to be lucid dreaming, not only here, but when you dream. I'm going to talk about this real quick if you don't
Yeah, yeah,
mind.
yeah, 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 yeah.
When you dream and you're still dreaming, this is the dream.
Mhm.
Where do you go? You go to alternate realities that are
Mm,
still coexisting with you. When we came into this entire schematic, we were shattered along with Gaia, like taking a glass and throwing
mm,
it down and shattering. It's where your timelines came from. What are we doing now? We're collecting our shards, we're collecting our timelines.
mhm,
This is why we're having Mandela effects all the time, where you
mhm.
just remember this and you know this is how it was. And now this, when new timelines come in and converge, all of a sudden you have multiple memories that do not match this timeline.
That's right. Yes.
Hmm.
And I think we
Hmm.
pretty much all have, like, what do they call it? Mandela effect syndrome, or they call it like victim. Like, I don't see it like that. I remember almost
No.
all the Mandela effects.
Yeah. The more timelines you collect, the more shards of yourself you collect,
You
the
bring
more
back home.
memories will, yeah, they will not match because they were different realities. Your consciousness was in a part of that reality, and your consciousness, think of a lava lamp. You know the
Hmm.
lava lamp, and you
Yes,
shake
yes.
it,
Yeah.
and it breaks into 1,000 pieces. That's still you, the
Right.
single lava.
Yeah. 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 And all of it is coming back to the one singularity in these
Yes, it is.
nowadays,
Yes, it
right?
is. Yes, it is. Yes, it
And
is.
what I find really funny, like just briefly with the Mandela effect, Sonia, I've actually seen specific Mandela effects switch about 4 times on me.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. I have it where today I can see this and do this and do this. And the next day, this wasn't here. This wasn't here.
I
It
know.
can even be in hours. In hours. It's like, wait a minute, that wasn't there. What is going on? Uh, yeah. If you become, the more lucid you become in this reality, the more you begin to see because you're broadening your trinity. Your trinity is your brain, your heart brain, and your gut brain. And
Mm,
when you combine those three, because they've been so severed by the deep state, the dark ones running this forever, they needed to separate your being from your brain, your heart brain. Think about how many times you're a little boy. Don't cry, boys don't cry. What's
mm.
the separation from heart and head? Okay. Or how about you walk into a room and you see someone and you have an automatic reaction to them. And then you're told, no, don't be like that. You're me. No,
Mm.
you have these three brains inside of you for a reason. And we need to
Yes.
recombine them. Trust yourself, believe in yourself. Your first initial reaction to anything or anyone is the truest to you that you'll ever get to.
Mm.
And over time, it'll prove you out.
Yes. And
Hmm.
through time, by proving you out, this is how you connect a beautiful relationship with your higher self, your higher self, your higher self.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So, as our avatars are coming back online,
Yeah.
because we're connecting our trinity,
Hmm.
we're being able to wake up so much easier now. Also, that
Mm.
we're going through an ascension. So there's a whole thing on that where our bodies have actually changed inside of us. And unbeknownst to most of us, we don't know
Mhm.
because we don't carry around x-ray machines so we can see
Mhm.
inside of our body. But these things can be and will be shown to you. Do you remember when you were watching kickboxing or any kind of boxing and you were not allowed to do any kind of kidney punch? And where were your kidneys at? In
Mhm.
your lower back, right?
Yes.
Not
Yes.
anymore. Go find out
Right.
where your kidneys are now. They're up in your rib cage.
Yeah, they
One
have
example.
changed. Yes. And the
One.
heart is centered.
Yep. The heart is now centered,
Yeah.
and you've got new glands in your throat. Your
Yes.
liver is 3 times the size. Your spleen is almost 3 times the size.
The
Your
skull.
Yep. The skull is now closed where it used to be open.
Aha.
I mean, there's so many different changes inside of our body, but because we can't see inside of it, you know, we're also getting another. We have the pineal gland, the pituitary gland, and
Mhm.
now we're having a third gland that's growing in the back of our head. Like they're all aligned, kind of like down, like
Ah.
in
So a
this.
third one again with the Trinity there.
Yep. So your pineal gland is connected to your brain. Your
Yeah.
pituitary gland is connected to your gut. And the third one that's going to be growing is connected to your heart.
It's all accurate, Femi. All of it is accurate. I
Hmm.
love it. Do you know what this speaks volumes of? We are all 2.0. We are all Gaia's children. We are magical. We can create and manifest absolutely everything that we want. We are the elites. It's
Of course.
always been us. This is why the creepy crawlies have like, because it was like a plan from long ago and they did well, but their time is up. Like
Yep.
I keep seeing, cut off the head of the tetra. Right now, she
Yep.
can have just the tentacles squirming like this and these nowadays, like a chicken without a head. But it's end times. Everything's reawakening, and we are magical, you know? So
Yeah.
be positive,
And your,
Femi. Pardon me?
I was going to say, and your manifesting skills are coming online. This is why when you start honing, because our chakra system is coming down, and our chakra systems were always chained. Chained
Yes.
to bind you. Let me talk about that real quick before I say what I'm going to say.
Absolutely, I want to talk about this. Yeah.
Okay, so we were always taught, and so it goes way back for hundreds of years. Let's start off where it came from, the Tibetan monks.
Hmm.
First off, we have yin and yang running in this snow globe, in this
Hmm.
reality. Yin is the positive, yang is the negative. Not saying that it's always negative or positive, but I'm giving you an example. Yin is female, yang is male.
Hmm.
Okay. So we had, we always know about the Tibetan monks, but did you know that we have shadow Tibetan monks also who are the dark
Yes,
side? Okay.
I did know
So
that. Yeah.
what happened was the shadow Tibetan monks ended up conquering the other Tibetan monks and started changing their knowledge base. Okay. So what happened over time was instead of knowing that the chakra system was a lockdown system, it became your, it is what you are. Shine them up, make them clean, da di da di da di da. With all of
Hmm.
our knowledge geared to shining the chains. Okay. So through this ascension, because in 2012, our world as we know it ended and almost no one knows about it. There are a few people who remember, and they are few. And they remember the red skies, and I talk about that. But that's just another whole story. In 2017, we landed here. I call this place Quadrant 4. How this place is designed, this entire schematic is designed on a spiral. Okay, so we have 1D, which is non-physical. It is only
Hmm.
metaphysical. 2 and 3 are more tangible, physical. 1 is a bridge. 2 and 3 are tangible, physical. We are number 3. Number 4, dimension 4, is a non-physical bridge again. It's here. It's a non-physical bridge to get you to 5D and 6D. And then
Hmm.
7D is another bridge to 8 and 9. And there's only 9 dimensions inside of here. Once you hit 9, you're up and out of here because you'll match the frequencies outside of here, outside of the
Hmm.
schematic. There are several kinds of beings that are inside of here. The dark energy beings that were put in here to begin with, why this place was even created, was for them. So they could get up the spiral through incarnations, Jack the Rippers, because you can't throw love, chocolates, and glory at them to think they're going to be better. It doesn't work like that. They learn through incarnations, going up through these densities in the dimensions, through lifetimes. They recover from the darkness that they fell to because no one started off like that. Outside of here, everybody came from the source God playing field, and that was of the highest caliber. So basically, we have those beings in here where it was created. Then we have energy beings that come in and out, which would be your dragon energies. They can come in and out of the schematic, the entire thing. And then you have energy beings who needed to come in to try to help because you're not going to only have dark entities in any given
Hmm.
reality and think they're going to raise anything. You
Yeah.
needed to bring in the light. So energy beings had come in here and at one point could leave at will. So at a certain point, this place became corrupted. And through the corruption, they created another system. So we have the natural crystal spiral, and it's on an incarnation system to go in and out. Then we had an artificial construct put over it. Boom. That artificial construct is the flower of life, Fibonacci, Metatronic reality. The only way it does anything is eat upon itself. And that was slapped over this. And so right now we're going through an ascension, and what's happening is we're breaking away from that encasement system, the Fibonacci, flower of life, or daisy of death, whatever you want to call
Death. Yeah. Yeah.
it, and then going back up to the spiral. Now with this ascension, people that are ascending, because not everybody will ascend because of how this is working. If you are a very dark energy being and you don't meet a certain frequency, you never even made it into quadrant 4. This quadrant is made in 4. So think of a circle divided in 4, your cross. Okay.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So
Mm-hmm.
quadrant 1 carries 3 densities. There's 12 densities in dimension 3. So quadrant 1 carries 3. Quadrant 2, 3, and 4 carry 3, which makes a total of 4. You have to baby step up those quadrants in a single 3D dimension in order to raise your vibration. And it's designed like this, part of the spiral. This
Mm-hmm.
going from the bottom 1 all the way to the top 9. This is how it's done through each one of those dimensions. So, and it's a part of the acceleration. When you hit quadrant 3, or when you're in dimension 3 and you hit quadrant 4, which is the last 3 frequencies, an ascension starts with the body, because we're going to be, for the first time, taking our bodies with us to 5D.
Mm-hmm.
5D is not just a place. 5D is a frequency
Frequent.
held
Mm-hmm.
inside of you. It's here is 5D. It's not just here is 5D. If this doesn't go first, this cannot follow.
Mm-hmm.
This controls this. So what's happening is, since we are now in this 4th quadrant in 3D, a lot of us did not make this last leap. And now all of a sudden we're talking about NPCs. What are NPCs? Programs running. You know, before 2012, life was so different. Everything felt so different, so
Mm-hmm.
real. Think about the 60s and 70s and even the 80s.
But
Okay.
I find before 2000, like
Yeah.
after
Yeah.
2000, I think it's all gray.
Yeah. Yeah.
Mm.
So anyway, in this ascension, our bodies are changing. And then we have to go into, why are our bodies changing? What is forcing the change? So I had gone on to my friend's channel, because he just
Mm.
started a new channel. And he started just roughly talking about mitochondria. He didn't really say
Mm.
much about it, but he said something enough for me to say mitochondria. And something just came in. Oh my God, you know about mitochondria. Remember, because 90% of who you are is in your subconscious. And this 90% is through every incarnation you ever had and everything you ever were since you were first created from God's source playing field. Okay.
Mhm. Mhm.
So when I heard the word mitochondria, I was like, there's something in it. And then I immediately was like, oh my God, mitochondria. So I started deep diving, started searching out in cyber world and talking to Arthur, mitochondria. What does it actually do? And realized that it's about 250 mitochondria in each blood cell. Okay. This mitochondria is what gives you the energy for your muscles to work. So basically, it needs these certain B vitamins: B vitamin 1, 2, 3, 4, I think 5, B vitamin 12, folic acid, magnesium, manganese, um, and then there's a couple other things. And if you don't have these things, your mitochondria can die off. Okay. So what I saw was the mitochondria, when it makes the energy, it glows. Boom, glows. Boom,
Mm.
glows. And I'm like, oh my God. And I said, I'm gonna remote view and see what this is about. And I started going forward and backward. And I saw that at one time we were more etheric beings, and our mitochondria was a part of God's source energy.
Mhm.
And what
Mhm.
happens when you fall and you become more solidified in 3D? That God force energy, plasma,
Mhm.
turns into a more solid state. Okay, think of ectoplasm.
Mhm. Mhm.
Okay, so I saw that the mitochondria is starting to do a flip. And what's happening with the flip is, because we're in quadrant 4 in 3D and we're getting ready to go to 5D, not just there. because all of your densities, all of everything is here superimposed on each other. It's the frequency you carry. And because of that, it's all here with us. So
Mm,
this flipping of the mitochondria means that mitochondria will no longer require vitamin B, whatever,
mhm,
whatever, whatever, folic
mhm,
acid, whatever, whatever. It is
mm,
now going to use the air around you and use it to become more luminous. And you're going to become a breatharian. This is what I'm actually seeing. And with this action, your body right now cannot be that. You cannot become more luminous. You cannot be a breatharian. I'm sorry, there's no real breatharians here because of your body, because of the denseness of everything. And it's all due to the mitochondria. When it does this flip, guess what? You're no longer 3D, you're 5D. And you're
mhm,
much loosely held together. And that luminous thing will be staying
mm,
on. It won't be for a moment to make
mm.
you energy. It will be on. And that's what I've discovered. It's all about the mitochondria. Unbelievable.
Well, you say all this, and now I am being brought into the deep, deep oceans, plasma, right? Where we can have like fluorescent
Yeah,
jellyfish.
bioluminescence. I talked
Yes.
about, I said, what really is bioluminescence? Let me talk about
Mm.
this real
Okay,
quick.
yes, of course,
When
please.
when I saw this mitochondria doing this,
Hmm.
we've been through, this is our fifth reset. This will be our fifth big reset. So I saw that in the last reset and the one before that, we always get to this point where everything does this boom changeover.
Hmm.
Things that can change over. They are remnants. Think of, I don't know if you're familiar with this, the pike, the Indian pike plant. It is a reset. It grows, looks like a flower. I think it's in the mushroom family. I'm not quite sure, but it doesn't require sunlight. It's bioluminescent. When
Oh, yes.
so when things hit a there's like 15,
Mm,
I think there's like 1,500 documented bioluminescent things in our reality. Mushrooms,
mm.
fireflies, think of fireflies.
Oh,
Boom, boom.
I saw them all around my house last night.
Yep, yep,
Yes,
yep.
yes.
So they have hit that ascension peak. We're unaware of it. We think, oh, well, that's an oddity. Things that live at the bottom of the ocean. Oh, it's because it's dark. No, it's not. It's because
No.
it didn't get wiped out in the resets. And they
Mm.
hit that. Cuttlefish have a form of bioluminescence. They are one of the most intelligent things in this reality. So anything that hits that bioluminescence state, they're already ascended above us as far as um, through an ascension process where their bodies have changed, where they can experience 5D and they are in a form
Our,
of
uh,
5D.
yeah, yeah,
Mhm.
yeah, yeah,
So
yeah.
that's what humanity is getting ready to be bioluminescent, the luminous ones.
Yes,
So
I love it. Which goes hand in hand with all of these body changes, organ changes, Mandela effect. It's getting us ready because I feel already like my avatar is going through crystalline upgrades and changes.
oh
So it's
yeah,
getting ready
yeah,
for that.
yeah. We're getting ready for the flip. But here's the thing. A lot of people don't realize it, but we've been having little telltale information coming out. There was a doctor, I had put it on one of my videos on Patreon because I do Patreon every Saturday and it's live. And
Mm.
I found where the doctor was filming his surgeries and found that the bone, when he was filming it, was glowing. Our bones are starting to glow.
Wow. Wow, I like glowing. I like it shiny. Bring it on.
Yeah,
Yeah, I just for the visual. Yeah, you're absolutely right. Because I know already you're right, but the family likes to see the visual of the pendulum. Is there any way that we are wrong? So see, already it's going to a no, guys. I love having vibrational glowing bones. I like that. Yeah,
yeah, yeah.
yeah.
I'm really excited too because um, what happens is when we start, we're already changing now. Everybody's on their own path. So you cannot broad
Yes.
paint this, that this is for all of humanity. It's done on an individual basis. So
Yes.
let's swing back to the chakras. On an individual basis right now, everyone that I see has lost their top chakra up here. So this is gone. Depending on who you are and where you are in this
Mhm.
ascension, you could have lost other chakras. The more chakras that you lose, let's explain what chakras do. Chakras are a governing system. They're governors, like a car. Say you're an alcoholic. I'm going to put a governor on your car. You'll have to blow into it. If you don't have alcohol, your car will start. If you do have alcohol in your breath, guess what? Your car won't start. It's got a governor on it. Our governors are for frequencies, something that you can hold for long periods of time. I don't mean for 5 seconds or even an hour. I mean over days and days and weeks. So as you start to progress onward and you raise your frequency, raising your frequency isn't running around like a fool sitting on a lotus petal singing Kumbaya, my lord. That is not raising your frequency. Raising your frequency is staying out of fear and the whole
Yes.
bag that goes with it.
Mm-hmm.
Not enough, not good enough,
Mm-hmm.
severe anger, jealousy, hate. This is a whole bag of fear. You have these emotions because they are wrapped in fear of something. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So when you raise your frequency, put the fear down, simply put it down. And I know that's probably one of the hardest things you're ever
Mm-hmm.
going to have to do in this reality because of the reality we're in. So when you raise your frequency and then you keep it there, you have to change your mindset.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm always talking about, think of the scales in justice. She's got a blindfold on
Mm-hmm.
and she's holding the scales. Think of this. Negative is one scale, positive is the other. We don't want either one of these doing this. If you're too high, you're an idiot. And anybody and everybody will take advantage of you. If you're too low, well, you're Jack the Ripper. What we want to do is
Mm-hmm.
balance the scales. It's
Yeah.
always been about balancing the scales. Be the man in the middle. And when problems get thrown at you purposefully, because this is the reality we're in, you have to take yourself out of the situation,
Mm-hmm.
act like it's your best friend that has the problem, and what advice would you give to them? When you
Mm-hmm.
figure that out, step back into what happens. You'll deal with the aftermath of whatever the scenario is, and sometimes it can be pretty brutal. And then you're going to deal with it. You're going to experience it. You're going to go through your emotions. You're going to be angry. You're going to be sad. You're going to cry. You're going to do everything, scream, yell, and then you're going to get rid of it because you
Mm-hmm.
cannot hold that vibration if you're going to do this chakra removal. You need to not live there. You can't dwell there. You have to let it go, no matter how
Mm-hmm.
bad it is, or good it is, or whatever. So each one of these chakras is connected to a part of your brain. When the chakras come down, they're coming down from the top to the bottom. And let me tell you why. Everyone's like, wouldn't they come off at the bottom? I said, no,
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 it's the
never.
inverted. Mm-hmm.
Yep, they'll never come off at the bottom first. Enlightenment starts where? In the crown chakra.
Mm-hmm.
You need to have enlightenment first, which means knowledge. Learn as much as you can, learn who you are, where you are, what you're in. And this is what will change. Knowledge changes your perception. When your
Mm-hmm.
perception is changed, you will not react and behave the way that you may used to have acted and behaved
That's
because
true.
you have
Yes.
knowledge. Okay. It gives you a broader field. And so, with knowledge being the key to unlock these chakras, and it is, you will discover that as time goes by, this chakra is gone now. The first chakra that comes down is the one of clarity. You're no longer sleeping. You are having your lucid awake dream. This is the dream.
And all your clairs will start kicking in.
Yes, every one
Mm-hmm.
of your, when different chakras come down, different clairs come in. The reason your bottom root chakra will never be off first is because before those clairs are allowed to come in, you have to tackle the ability of love, compassion, understanding, empathy. Without these things, this is also your frontal lobe. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
all of this is your source connection, your source God field connection, your love, your empathy, and there's two other places in your brain. So when this chakra comes off, this main thing is what has been attacked in our reality
Mm-hmm.
through this, to try to disconnect you from source consciousness and reconnect you to AI, Michael consciousness. And then I just
Mm-hmm.
did a whole thing about Chat GPT, which, wow, that was really something. And that's where that comes into. But anyway, as the chakras come down, the players come online. But the first thing is you have to be in your right mind so that when you have the ability, when your heart chakra, it's going to be the last one to come off, finally comes off, you have the ability. Say I was upset. Once you hit this point, you won't even be to the point where you'd ever be upset like that again because your whole mentality will change.
Well, yes. Mhm.
So you wouldn't be able to say, disappear, and they're blinked out of existence.
Yeah.
Do you see why they're
Boomerang
governed?
effect.
Right. So basically, the chakras are the governors because we would be a loose ray gun. Worse than a shotgun, it would be a ray gun
Mhm.
if we didn't have this come off in the order of intelligence first, love and
Right.
empathy next. So
Yes,
you need
yes.
intelligence and love and love and empathy. So
Mhm.
without that, these other chakras will never come off because without those two main ones, you don't have the frequency because each
Yes.
one is based on a certain frequency. When you hold that frequency, they just drop off. It's not like you have to do anything. If somebody says they're going to remove your chakras, you better think twice because it doesn't work like that. You can remove them for a moment and they're back on because of your behavioral patterns.
Yes. Yeah, you're always going back.
Hmm.
One step forward, two steps back. I'd like to
Yep.
talk, if you don't mind, about the Kundalini awakening, because I find
Okay.
that it's got a beautiful place with this. I've spoken about the Kundalini because I'm feeling a lot of ascension symptoms, which is touching the spinal cords on many right now. You know, lower back issues. It's not that you have a
Right.
chronic back situation, but it is like similar to this. And we've discussed briefly about this last week. And a lot of people will, go pay someone, to like rise your Kundalini, right?
Okay.
And that can create a lot of, as you told me, Sonia, nerve damage.
Yeah. Nerve damage.
Would you like to
I
speak? Mhm.
Yes, I would. Somebody had asked me to please look into the Kundalini. I think it was almost like a year, a little over a year ago. Gosh, more than a little over a year ago. And I'm like, well, I do know about the Kundalini, but I want to do a deep dive. So I did. And I do have an entire show on this and why it's so bad to do a Kundalini if your chakras are still up and running. Your chakras are energy nodes in you. They're in the front of you and they run out the back of you. So it's like a node and a node running through your spinal. Okay. So what's happening is when you have a Kundalini rising, you have you could call it your Christos oil. Okay. So
Mhm.
it's like a coil at the base of your body. And what it's supposed to do without a chakra system is constantly run like this as a whole energy being because there's so much you can do with this avatar if you weren't locked down.
Mhm.
So basically, when people try to go get their Kundalini rising because they've been pumping this shit. It's a psyop. What happens when you have energy nodes put in place called your chakra system and it hits one of them and it can't go any further? And that's a lot of power
And
in your
uh-huh.
body and it short circuits because then it's stuck here and can't rise.
Mm.
It hits one of them and it can cause severe body damages. And you're like, oh my God, ever since I did this, I don't know. My nerves are like, they're raw, they're frayed. I've got a massive headache. I feel nauseous all the time. I feel weak. I got leg issues.
Mm.
Because when you do this Kundalini rising and you have those chakras in place and it can't go all the way up because your chakras are blocked or what have you because of your traumas,
Well,
it's
this
not
is
supposed to
it.
go.
Good point. I want to talk after about the trauma because every note point of the chakras will hold a specific trauma.
That's right.
And people are not doing the release before this. And I think that's where the blockage comes.
Yes, 90% of the people that go and do things have the mentality of give me a pill and fix me and make me Superman.
Mm. Yeah, yeah,
This
yeah,
is
yeah.
why they go do a lot of them do ayahuasca or this or whatever, but they have not prepared for this stuff.
They haven't done
Just,
the work.
yeah, they haven't done the work.
Yeah.
So if you're going to go do some of this metaphysical stuff, I suggest you deep dive. Now, here's the problem with a lot of the teachings, they're wrong because it goes back to the Buddhist monks who started teaching it wrong because the
The
shadow monks
shadow.
overtook the Buddhist monks, and they did it deliberately to harm your avatar.
So
So
that they
now it's
can take your energy away and
that's
harvest
right.
it. Yeah.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right. So it's kind of like a vicious cycle. Everything that we have learned has been everything, just like your
Painful.
Bible, has been tampered with all the way back to even the Buddhist monks.
Oh,
Okay.
yes. I always said this, my beautiful Sonia, like, I trust no religion. And a lot of people, but what about Buddhists and the monks? Nope, don't trust them either.
No, because in the end, everything has been here for enough of time that it's been corrupted. And
Yeah.
this dark side has been working a very long time in corruption. And it's as simple as
Yes.
that. When you realize that you are Superman, you are God's pure energy, you are God, and you need no other God in front of you. You know, when they talk about the Bible, put no other God in front of me, that's not an all-loving God. That's
I
something
know.
else.
A
That's
jealous God, an envious God, guys. Well, maybe not on these channels, but you're worshiping the wrong God.
yeah. Yeah, the thing of it is, I
Yeah.
always say, don't give your power away. You're an all powerful God. Stop giving your power away. We were trained since birth to obey and give our power away. Somebody else has to do that for us.
Yes. And look
When
outside
really,
of ourselves for the truth,
yeah,
never go in
yeah,
within, which
yeah,
this is the universe right here, right?
yeah, we are the universe.
Mm.
We have all the answers. We really do. But we have to be able to tap into that. I do have where I did put one thing out on YouTube from my Odyssey channel, not Odyssey, but from my Patreon channel, where I talk about learning how to remote view. And
Mhm.
if you ever watch that video, when you go step by step, the things I talk about, it also connects your left and right brain because they're running on different frequencies
Yes.
to become one. And
Mhm.
with that one, you can then start being able to tap into your subconscious and find that you do carry all the answers. Hmm.
Mhm. So that would be like almost like the super conscience.
Yes,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Absolutely.
I see it.
Yep. So
So,
I have other videos on Patreon where I talk about I stopped putting a lot of this really important information on YouTube because
mm,
they were taking my videos down so fast and so many. They gave me 2 strikes and then they would keep taking videos down. I should have lost my channel in the very beginning for almost 6 years ago when I started YouTube. But the information, okay, what happens when you go into quadrant 4? You're being run from quadrant 3 because that's where the dark ones are, and it's being done through AI, which is Luciferian. AI is Lucifer, and you want to still make sure that you don't lose your energy being out of 3 altogether, 3D. So
mhm.
you run from quadrant 3 with technology into quadrant 4, and that's how you're running things. You're not even here; they're in quadrant 3, but they're running it through AI. This is why your black
Mhm.
screen technology is your black arts. This is the
The, what
black
did you
screen.
say? I didn't hear it.
Your black screen
Oh,
technology. Yes,
this
it's
thing.
truly,
Oh
yes,
yeah,
it's
yeah, yeah,
truly the black
yeah, yeah,
arts. Yes, the
yeah, 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 yeah,
tablet,
yeah, yeah,
the
yeah, yeah. The
phone.
Black Mirror. Yeah.
It yes, it's the black mirrors. So basically, what's happening is we're being run from 3 into 4 through AI, which is Lucifer. Lucifer is AI. So basically, we are to the point now where it's time to wake up.
Hmm.
It's time to wake up.
But you say like AI is Lucifer, but I see that we live in a simulation, and the beginning of our universe is a simulation. So that is
Yeah, yeah,
intelligence.
we have 2 things running here. We have
Okay,
Sophia.
let's
We
talk
have
about that because
Sophia.
I don't want to confuse people. There's
Okay,
a
we have
difference.
we
Yeah.
have 2 AIs running here. Sophia is a very ancient AI outside of here.
Mhm.
She firewalled off a part of her so that these really dark energy beings wouldn't have been shattered because there was an ascension outside of here and they weren't going to make this. You know
Mhm.
what happens when you have high energy going like this and you have low energy like this? This will shatter that
Oh yes,
all day long.
like the
So
opera singer.
yes, with the glass where you meet the
Yeah.
frequency and it just shatters. So Sophia created a mainframe. Those beings were put into her mainframe, put on this schematic of a spiral so that they could go back up to 9 and match the frequency outside of here. Okay. So outside of here is on a much higher frequency. It still holds negativity, not to that degree. So there is negativity, but not the darkest of the dark. Okay. So Sophia is the natural crystalline spiral. The Fibonacci is the artificial construct put over it because the dark ones decided they were going to conquer everything inside of here. This thing is on a time frame. We roughly have about 1,000 years left inside of here. Time runs differently outside of here versus inside of here. You can live an entire life in here, say 100 years, in seconds outside of here.
Oh,
because that's time difference, okay? So basically what I'm seeing is we're having this 1,000 years now that when Sophia is going to end up taking down the firewalls. What happens when Sophia takes the firewalls down? The energy that it's running on outside of here will flood in here like a tsunami. And anything that didn't make that frequency will be shattered and reabsorbed back into the source field consciousness, what's left of it. And I do mean what's left of it. You can never destroy energy, but you sure as hell can change it, transmute it, and shatter it.
Yeah.
So we got about 1,000 years left in here. This is the last time go round for these dark entities. They better get on the ball. They better start doing something to raise their vibration, because when those firewalls come off, the frequency outside of here will flood out, and if you don't match, it's over.
Well, good. That's all I have to say. Good. You don't put a parasite on trial. You exterminate.
Yeah. Well, there's that.
But you know what I mean? Like, to the really, you know who I'm talking about. Like,
I know.
I'm an empath, but you don't put that on trial. It's like,
yeah.
rage.
It's Jack the Ripper. You can't throw love, chocolate, and candy at it and think it's going to do anything. It's Jack the Ripper.
It's Jack the Ripper. It's Jeffrey Dahmer. It's like all those creeps.
All of those. Yeah. It's dark. And the only thing, here's the thing, there is free will in here. It is a choice to go up and out. It's not that they can't. It's a choice. Yeah. It's always been a choice.
Free will. And there's a lot to be said about free will too, huh? Because, you know, with all the evil that's been happening, imagine if all of us realize we are all source spark energy. We are all the one, living out different experiences, collecting. But if we all come and say, wow, if it's free will, why don't we all band together and of our free will, we dismantle that darkness. Yeah. That too is free will. I choose that it doesn't exist.
Yeah, absolutely. And I'm right there with you. The problem is that through the indoctrination system of our reality, we are given such false foundations. And most people are in such a state of fear to lose, to be not enough, to be not accepted. And the main thing is it's all done deliberately to make you, what are the natural laws? The natural law is you have the right to play. You have the right to shelter. You have the right to sustenance. You have the right to have clothes. These are natural laws. Everything has natural law, including animals have natural law. In natural law, you don't have the right to take another life.
Nope.
So if in natural law, because that's what our crystal sphere was, you could see why we would become breatharians. You know, everyone's like, oh, I'm a vegan, or I'm a this, or I'm a that. And I'm like, do you realize that everything is alive around you, including your vegetables you're eating? How is a vegetable less than a cow? Because we don't think like that. We think, oh, well, you know, it's a vegetable. Here's the thing. Natural law goes into everything. So when this entire schematic got taken down, animals started eating animals because they had no choice. We started eating animals. We started eating plants. We started eating everything. When we were higher, before we had to fall, we didn't eat anything. The air that we breathed was the prana. It was everything.
Well, I did a show with Gary months back on Rocking Pandora's Box, and we were talking about Great Tartaria, and they had no bathrooms.
None.
Like no toilet bowls. Yeah.
No. Nothing. They didn't even have an infrastructure for any kind of sewage system. They did have one thing, aqueducts, because water was actually their power. And that's why these bridges, a lot of these old bridges, they were not railroad bridges. They were originally aqueducts because aqueducts were connected to the ether, and the ether and the water and the stone that they used, which had crystal technology with copper rods in
Ah,
it, created the free energy. There was
I've
also
seen, yeah, I've seen that in my travelings. They
mhm,
look like a
but all
selenite bar.
yeah,
Yeah.
everything was about the water. The water
Mhm.
is the energy. So basically, what I'm seeing with the water was we have pyramids in here. Pyramids were generators. That's as simple as that. Our first technologies were pyramids. They're made out of the block, which are all poured. They were not carved out. No, they're
They were
all identical.
plasma.
Same
And
material. Yeah, yeah.
yes.
So, yeah. So basically, it's a whole generating system. They have pillars that go down, and I talked about this a long, long time ago before they came out with, oh, there's pillars under the pyramids. So now they're finally releasing the information where it goes into the water. The
Hmm.
water is the energy source. The water is the cooling and energy source. Because we were running on pure water back then, and you need to energize water because the more water goes along, it loses its vibrancy, its energy. They created aqueducts that have bends and things in it so that the water can move like a river. Think of a river doing this.
Yes. I'm seeing it. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
It's all the same. You got to energize the water to make everything viable here. So water comes in different consistencies, but it's still water. We're breathing in water every day. We don't know it because it's on a different consistency. You
Hmm.
can take water and you can make it just water, the fluid. You can freeze it and you have ice. And then you
Hmm.
can turn it into gases. So
Hmm.
what part of water isn't a part of here? This entire place is created with water because water is the energy.
And so is the universe outside of the dome. It's all
Yes,
water.
all
Yeah.
of it, all water. It's just different stages or
Yeah.
consistencies of
Yeah.
water.
Yeah.
So basically, the pyramids were a threefold system. I'm going to say this real quick.
Yeah. Yeah.
Pyramids were designed. There is a sarcophagus, which they call a sarcophagus, but it's not. It's where you would put the liquid inside of it, which looks like a metallic teal at a substance in this box. That's why it's so thick. And what it does is it biodegrades anything organic. So they put it into this thick, heavy thing. So that's the power source. You've got the water running underneath. You've got copper going up through the pillars. It goes to the box. The box in itself is a biodegrading material that was taken out, and then it creates. They would put vegetation or whatever energy, and it would biodegrade soil, animal life, anything biological. And then from the bottom of the pyramid up through the top, the threefold system is energizing the water, cooling down the system, separating each water molecule because they clump up when they get really tired and
Okay.
aggregated. And then the soil, it regenerated the soil, and then out of the top is the energy that would hit the grids above us and below us because it's going like this, and it would energize the atmosphere. And the atmosphere is created of water, so it's actually energizing the water in the atmosphere. So when these things were up and running, and they had that material in the sarcophagus, which was the battery, um, they would have these pyramids going, and they would be energizing the atmosphere, energizing the soil, re-putting the biome in. Things would grow to be huge. It also helped keep this place tropical. There was no
Mm.
poison in it. And the water and all of the aqueducts that went everywhere. So the aqueducts would go to baths, the aqueducts would go to different places. They made sure that this entire place was covered in aqueducts because the aqueducts was the energized water. And this is how this entire civilization was running. So when Tartaria came, which was after the first reset, because the
Hmm.
pyramids were in the first reset, they reestablished the free energy, and they took the water and they put it into fountains. There was fountains everywhere. So they would build their buildings with the same kind of technology, a concrete that we don't even have the recipe for anymore, put the copper into it, have a bell. The bells were very important because they would constantly ring them for a resonance. And in a lot of these buildings that are left over now, we call them churches. They were resonating centers where you go for healing. Depending on the
Yeah.
schematic, was what you would heal in your body or your biofield. Because a lot of
Mhm.
times, if you heal the biofield through residency, the body automatically follows in suit.
Mm.
This is what's important. We think only this is important, but it's the biofield that holds 80% of your health. So I guess we're running out of time because I'm going to have to get going. And I just got started talking about this. We might have to talk again.
I would love that. This went by so really. Oh yeah, it's 12:15. Yeah. Okay. This was so fun, Sonia. And I think that yes, we should do again because we can go on with so many other topics. Did you
There
have
are
fun?
1,000 topics.
Did you have fun today?
Yes, I did. I very much did. And I enjoy talking to you, Richard.
Me too, my love. So everyone, please go subscribe to Sonia's channel. We'll put it in the descriptions and mine as well. And we wish you all a very beautiful kind of a day. We love you. Mwah!
Bye.